morning everyone. Welcome back to grade 5 maths. How are you all doing today? So we have been learning about fractions, right? So we know fractions are usually represented in the form a numerator by denominator. So today we'll learn how to reduce a given fraction to its lowest form. First we will see what is the lowest form of a fraction. A fraction is in its lowest form when the only common factor for the numerator and the denominator is 1. Look at these examples. The fractions here: 1 by 2, 3 by 4, 5 by 8, 9 by 11. See, look at these numerators and denominators. Here the numerator is 1, the denominator is 2. Are there any common factors between these numbers? The only common factor is 1, right? What about 3 and 4? There also the only common factor is 1. 5 and 8, 1, and 9 and 11, the only common factor is 1. So we say these fractions are in their lowest forms. Now look at these examples here. The numerator here is 4, the denominator here is 12. Do they have any other factors than 1? Both these numbers 4 and 12 have the factors 1, 2 and 4, right? So there are more factors than the factor 1. Look at the other examples. This 9 and 27, they both can be divided by 9 and 3, right? What about this 5 and 25? These numbers also have factors other than 1. So we say these fractions are not in their lowest forms. Clear? Today we will learn two methods to reduce a given fraction to their lowest form. Let's see the first method. In the first method, what you have to do? We have to divide both the numerator as well as the denominator by a common factor. And you have to repeat the process until the only common factor for the numerator and the denominator is 1. Let's see that with an example. Look at this example given here. Reduce the fraction 45 by 60 to its lowest form. So we have the fraction here 45 by 60. We are asked to find out the lowest form. So with the first method, let's see how we can reduce it to the lowest form. Now look at these numbers 45 and 60. Are they divisible by 2? No, right? Are they divisible by 3? Yes, you can divide both 45 and 60 by 3. So 3 is a common factor for both 45 and 60, right? So let's divide both 45 and 60 by 3. What do we get here? 45 divided by 3, what is it? It is 50, right? By, what is 60 divided by 3? 60 divided by 3 is 20. So what do we have now? We have 15 by 20. Now, do these numbers have common factor other than 1? Yes. This 15 by 20 is still not in its lowest form. So what do? We have to repeat the process until the only common factor between the numerator and the denominator is 1. So again, let's see how we can reduce this fraction. So both this 15 and 20 have a common factor, which is it? It is 5, right? So let's divide 15 by 5, the numerator, by 20 by 5, which is the denominator. What do we get? 15 by 5 is equal to 3. 20 by 5 is equal to 4. Now, look at these numbers, the numerator and the denominator. The numerator here is 3, the denominator is 4. Do they have any common factors other than 1? No, right? So now this fraction 3 by 4, this is the lowest form of the given fraction 45 by 60. Clear? Now that was method 1. Now let's learn a different method. Now we have method 2. In method 2, what do? We have to find the HCF of the numerator and the denominator first, and then divide both the numerator and the denominator by the HCF. Then we'll get the lowest form of the given fraction in one step. Let's see how we can do that. Look at this example, 48 divided by 64. That's the fraction we are given here. You are asked to reduce it to the lowest form. So in this method, what do? We first find out the HCF of 48 and 64. I'm going to use the division method here. So how do we do that? First we write the given numbers in a grid. Now, which is the smallest common prime factor for these numbers? Is it divisible by 2? Yes. Both these numbers are divisible by 2. So what is 48 divided by 2? It is 24. What about 64? 64 divided by 2 is 32. Now, again. Now let's divide these quotients with the smallest possible prime factor. So are these numbers divisible by 2? Yes. So 24 divided by 2, it is 12. 32 divided by 2, it is 16. Like that we proceed. And once we are done with the division, let's take the common prime factors. So these are the common prime factors. Then how do we find the HCF? We know we have to take their product. So the product here, or the HCF of 48 and 64 is 16. Now what is the next step? We have to divide both the numerator and the denominator with the HCF. So dividing both the numerator and the denominator by their HCF, we get 48 divided by 16, the numerator, and 64 divided by 16, the denominator. What is 48 divided by 16? We know 16 3s are 48. So the quotient here is 3. And 64 divided by 16, we know 16 into 4, or 4 times 16 is 64. So the quotient here is 4. So here we have the numerator and the denominator. Do they have any other common factor other than 1? No. So right now, this fraction 3 by 4, it is in the lowest form. So with method 2, we have found out the lowest form of 48 by 64, which is 3 by 4. I hope you are clear with this. I will do one more question. Reduce 24 by 120 to its lowest form. Let's solve this question with both the methods that we learned today. Let's do it with the method 1 first, okay? Now, with method 1, what do? We find a common factor for the numerator and denominator. We divide it with the common factor and repeat the process until we get a common factor, that is only 1. So, since both these numbers are divisible by 2, I'm going to divide both the numbers with 2 first. So, dividing 24 by 2 gives what? Gives 12, and 120 divided by 2 gives you 60. Again, these numbers have factors other than 1. So, this is also not in the lowest form. So, let's reduce this fraction again. So, both these numbers are divisible by 2. So, reducing or dividing both the numbers with 2 gives you 6 by 30. Again, this can be reduced. Now, 6 by 30. Both 6 and 30 can be divided by 2. So, since 2 is a factor for both of them, simultaneously dividing them by 2 gives you 3 by 15. Now, is 3 by 15 in the lowest form? Not yet. Both these numbers can be divided by 3 again. So, 3 is a common factor to them. So, 3 by 3 by 15 by 3 gives you what? Gives you 1 by 5. The numerator is 1 and the denominator is 5. Now, what about 1 and 5? Do they have any other common factor than 1? No. The only common factor for 1 and 5 is 1. So, there we stop the process and we get the lowest form of 24 by 120 is 1 by 5. That was with method 1. Now, what about method 2? How do we do method 2? We have to find the HCF of 24 and 120. Let's do the division method. So, I'm going to take 2 here, the smallest prime number. So, 24 by 2 gives you 12. 120 by 2 gives you 60. Again, 12 by 2, 6. 60 by 2, 30. Repeating the process, and we get the common prime factors. We take the product and we get the HCF as 24. The next step is to divide both the numerator and the denominator with the HCF. So that gives us 24 divided by 24 by 120 divided by 24. 24 by 24 is 1. How many 24s will go in 120? 24 ones are 24, 24 twos are 48, 24 threes are 72, 24 fours are 96, and 24 fives are 120. So 120 divided by 24 is 5. Then we have the numerator and the denominator with the only common factor 1. So we have the lowest form here. So with method 2 as well, we have found out the lowest form of 24 and 120 as 1 by 5. Clear? All of you please go through the topic, the lowest form of a fraction and reducing a fraction to its lowest form from page number 57 and 58. Once you are done with that, please move on to exercise 4.1. You have to complete the questions, question number 4 and 5. And right below that, you can see the heading, Fun with Maths. Please go through that as well. So that's all for today. We will meet in the next class with a new topic. Until then, bye.